Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a mini live stream here. Well, basically, it's been a busy last couple of days. I did not sell the TV or the all-in-one computer, so if anybody's still interested in it, base price for the TV is $25. It is a vintage. I did a review on it, but I didn't conduct every single test that you could possibly use the TV for. But it is a good TV. It's a vintage Sharp. Similar models on eBay were going for about $250, but I'm not going to charge that for it because it'll be sitting here for the next millennium. If that's what I charge for it, so I figured $25 just to get it out the door, clear some space, and then the all-in-one computer, the Dell Inspiron 2020 model. As is, I would sell for $55, but maybe 8 gigs would sell better with an SSD. So I got 55 on it. So we'll go on Amazon real quick and kind of get a price. Originally, I was going to sell the ZBook that I'm using, but it's kind of grown on me a bit, so can't really complain there. It's been a fairly reliable computer so far. It doesn't take up as much space here in the front. And since I had an HP docking station lying around here, I also put that to use instead of just sitting there collecting dust. And on top of it, I can hook multiple monitors up to it without any special hardware, so can't complain there either. So let's get out of here. Inspiron, I already knew what I was looking for. All right, let's see how much. I know that you can put 8 gigs in here maximum. So what you would want for that computer is DDR3 PC3 12800 unbuffered non-ECC memory. So that's what we would need for that computer. And I think I might actually go ahead and order the RAM because potentially there's going to be a greater profit with more memory in the computer. Because the more memory you have, the more applications you can run without any jitters. And so I have money in the budget right now to do that. So, and I might even get a cheaper SSD drive and put it inside the computer as well. The drive that's in there works perfectly fine, but if you put the SSD in there, it will speed the computer up. Because I have 2 computers here in the office that have SSDs in there, and they run beautifully with Windows 10, of course. One sitting behind me, and I got one sitting on a cart. So that's something that we're going to be doing shortly. Once payday comes around again. So I did end up getting, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I ended up getting, as for a second phone, Problem is, I still can't believe how many phones I've gone through within the last 7 years. Actually, I've had more. This is currently one that I'm using right now. Only cost me $20 from Walmart for a track phone, flip phone. So this is the ALCALEL. It's a 4G flip phone. Don't get me wrong, I like the last Samsung phone I had, but I was having problems with reception and stuff like that. So I thought I went back to another, and this one's really not working that better either. So I'm thinking TracFone is you get what you pay for. Well, even this phone I just recently, sorry about that. I recently got here, which is the iPhone 7. It's not the latest and greatest, but this is basically the closeout price at one of the places I was doing business at. And the price was unresistible. It was less than 100 and a quarter. So yeah, this was also a track phone. Normally, a lot of places don't sell track phone stuff, but this one place I happened to be stopping at happened to have a couple of these in stock yet that they're clearancing out for the next. Works beautifully, and I already got it activated. So when you know people, you have a lot of good reputation with different clients and different other businessmen, they're more willing to wheel and deal with you and barter with you on stuff. So when you got a good representation with customers and different people, you got more doors open for you than when you're smug and I know it all. And I may seem like a smug person and a know-it-all, but when I do business with people, I treat them the same way that I'd want to. I give them the honesty, the integrity that they deserve, respect, because you never know what's going to happen. Where something might happen somewhere you're stranded on the road, those people might be your saving grace. They might just have the right tire iron you need to change your tire, or they might just happen to have a gas can full of gas if in case you ran out, or they might just happen to have a phone that's working in case yours isn't, or they might happen to be. So not only that, but when you get a good relationship going with people, not only do you watch their backs, but they'll watch your back as well. There's only a small percentage of them out there that don't give a crap about you, but basically, you look at it this way: it's always a positive experience working with somebody. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know who's going to come through the door. It's the exciting part of running an establishment. It's like if you bought a gas station. You never know who you're going to meet. You might meet Bill Gates. You might meet Evers, or you might meet the guy that invented Flex Seal, or you might even meet an author of a book that you really enjoy. So, no, I don't advise getting into the convenience store business if you don't have the ambition and drive and motivation. It takes a lot of ambition to run a convenience store and a gas station. And the only establishment I really don't feel sorry for is Quick Trip, even though they got great stuff. But it's such a huge corporate because you don't really see many mom and pop gas stations anymore. And what I mean by that is you don't see gas stations that have their own names that aren't part of the franchise. Not around here anymore anyway, but maybe up in the northern part of the state and in some rural areas. But if you got a mom and pop establishment and you got a lot of clientele that come for your gas and your product, and you have enough to splurge for a car wash and a quick lube, you got something going for you when you got other you can offer others services at your station. When you don't have any of that, you just strictly got gas and a bunch of candy and junk and soda pop and stuff and beer and. But for those that if you got a car wash and all that, you're doing pretty good for yourself. So that's. I would never get into running a convenience store, even though that it is good money. You don't really make your money on the gas so much. You make your money on like it's more on the services that you offer. It's like Quick Trip. They don't make their money on the gas. They make their money on all the hot food inside and all the candy and groceries that they sell. I gotta admit, they got a lot there. And even like if you go to like Denmark, they got a really nice Quick Trip there. If you go to Rivers, they got a nice one. It's fairly new. And then another thing that we're gonna also dive into is the financial series I was thinking about making. I cannot get enough people together to do the live streams, so we're gonna have to postpone that for maybe another few months. I got a lot of personal stuff going on right now that I don't really have time to line up people right now, and all the people that said they wanted to do it backed out, so that's not really going to be a thing at this point anymore. Maybe later on, but for right now, we're going to hold off. So that's. I was kind of looking forward to attempting to make a little mini series on that and have a few guest appearances and stuff, but can't have everything. So, oh well. So basically, the next thing that we're still thinking about getting an editing computer and upgrading to a better camera, but that's probably that'll be another 10 years from now before I get the camera for sure. Because things have kind of slowed down here a little bit, business wise. I had people for the first part of the month. I got one lady that's supposed to. I got to call her and have her come and pick up her dead computer and her hard drives because I got all the information and stuff copied off of, and I was able to put them back in most original format as possible. I'm not a data center. I'm not a clean room, so I'm not really equipped here to do data recovery in that capacity. No computer shop has that capacity to. The only way that you'd be able to do that is if you sent the drive out to California, out west to like Silicon Valley. But you're going to pay an arm and a leg if you had data on there that was worth like $1 million, or you had data that was very important. Yeah, I would say spend the money and get it done right. But 9 times out of 10, you should always make several data sets because drives like these could go out at any time. These are only rated for like 20,000 hours from new or from when you first turn it on. And you're thinking 20,000 hours is a lot. But when people leave their computers on all the time, sometimes I've even counted hard drives. I got old IDE drives from like 94, 93, 95, 96, 97. And then there's one or two from 1998. I would say those probably got between 40 and 60,000 hours on them. Because I got an old floppy program here I can run on those computers, and it kind of analyzes the drive. This was something that Novell had. Well, Novell is no longer a software company. It wasn't even actually patented by Novell. It was somebody somebody that worked for Novell, but they just put the Novell name on, even though that it wasn't copyrighted under Novell's. But basically, Novell is dead. It's never coming back to its former glory as far as a computer program. Novell was famous for WordPerfect, Novell NetWare, Novell GroupWise. Most of you in the audience probably don't even know what half of that is, but it's Novell NetWare was basically the luxurious version of Microsoft Exchange, Microsoft Server 2003, 2008, 2012, 2016, 2019. Novell is, I would say, 10 times better than Microsoft's Active Directory programs that's built into Windows. Novell is simple and it works smarter. Microsoft, you got to work harder to get the same result. And the funny thing is, Novell had stuff. So anything that was from like 2015, Novell had stuff. Figured a lot of stuff out that Microsoft didn't, like 25 years before Microsoft first released the program onto their operating system. So, not to bash Microsoft or anything like that, but Novell basically kind of ruined it for themselves by not continuing their NetWare upgrades. Because that's what killed Novell. Because everybody's so dependent on it. Because what was nice about the Novell program or the NetWare was you didn't actually have to buy server licenses or server operating system. You could get by with using Windows 95 or Windows 98 or NT or Windows XP Professional as your operating system. And Novell just there's basically patches and files and stuff that work coherent with the computer that governed all the policies, governed all the partitions and the drives and who got access to what and permissions, and kind of like how like Server 2008 and Server 2012 govern. But a lot of that stuff that Microsoft has is very flawed, and it always will be flawed in my opinion. Some of you are thinking, well, I don't know what Novell is because I never used it, but there are some people out there that have used Novell for years. I unfortunately was not the one that got to see Novell from the beginning until the end. I got to see it towards the end. So it is what it is. Can't beat yourself up over it, but and basically even Novell had programs for that you can hear the old Macintoshes to talk with the Novell network just by using the Apple Talk protocol. So that was actually so you could have a combination of Mac computers and Windows computers. Well, you can still tie Macs into a network with Windows computers. It's just you just have to have separate servers for your systems. In a lot of places now, they're actually getting away from having physical servers to having cloud computing. And actually, a very classic example of that is if anybody's ever heard of N computing boxes, that's basically cloud computing. Instead of actually physically having hardware at your workstation or desk, all it is just a little box with a motherboard the size of a board inside of like your. Basically, it's about the size of a smartphone. The box is bigger than and basically just room for the wiring inside and the solder joints and. Because actually, the only main key of the thing was the only thing you needed was the video, sound, USB. But the main thing that you had on there was networking, because basically you linked all those devices up with this mainframe server, and that's how those. Now I don't see those in a lot of places. The only place I see them is like in the K-12 sector, your public libraries, and actually it's basically vice versa. It's a horse apiece how much it costs. Because if you get the Microsoft or online domain, you still pay per computer to link up to the domain, even though you don't have to physically buy hardware or server hardware anymore. But you got to pay X amount of money to Microsoft every month to use the service. So I've played with the online domain a little bit through evaluation period. It's wonderful. You don't actually have to have hardware to make it work. You can just run virtual machines and link them up to the online program. But I have to say, I'm still the kind of the physical hardware kind of guy. Because basically, you're outsourcing your job by demoting your physical hardware and going virtual hardware. But it's a lot of companies are trying to cut back on that, and that is one area that they're trying to cut back on is hardware, software. And basically now, the next generation of like service desk support and remote and working is ServiceNow. Because a few weeks ago, I had a webinar in the morning wasn't that long. It was like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, where you just kind of you got on camera with everybody. You're kind of voicing what you thought of it, and then you had like a 7 day evaluation period before that to kind of try out. Now this is long gone. I don't have it anymore. But the pricing on it for all the services that I would use, I could buy myself a really nice F-350 pickup truck, top trim, for all that I would use out of that service. So it's very expensive.
Just a moment.
That was just Siri listening into the stream. Apparently, I must have activated the right voice command for it, and I was able to. I'll put it to sleep, and we'll come back to it. Yeah. So there's a lot of different interesting topics out there to talk about as far as technology. I do plan on getting some kind of service desk or ticket request system eventually, but I need to be a millionaire before I can pull that off. But eventually, well, before that even happens, either I'd buy this building or I'd build my own place or I'd look for a larger building. Preferably on a main drag, not on a side street or anything, or because this place is kind of, I can't really do half of what I want to do with it. But it is what it is. I came to the realization that this is about the only room I'm ever going to get. So I have to sit and think about, it'd be nice to have the other side, if I could have the back or upstairs, but that's not going to happen. So that's life. You just move forward and do what you can with what you have. I noticed it's kind of, well, I'm going to say that I was going to talk about a certain topic, but we're going to say that for a different day, probably towards the end of the week, because I got some ideas that I'm contemplating on trying. So I'm not going to spoil it yet. We'll vamp this up a little bit on a later day. So thanks for tuning in. God bless everybody. Stay safe. Don't let COVID-19 wear you down. Don't let it consume you. There's much more to life than wearing a mask and being afraid and thinking that this is all bigger and worse than it actually is. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you very soon.